Here I am about 50 feet from standing on dry land, and there's 2 bears. Well, I'm running out of daylight, but there's a bear right down there. He's starting to mosey on. The one that was right here, he's over there in the forest now. He slowly went out, but I can't tell whether I go that direction or this direction. Well, there's a little water moving into this one. I'm going to go check it out. Well, there's no possibility of hanging the food, but yeah, I'm right in a bear paddock. They'll be here most of the night. I'm just going to have to sleep right next to the food and try to shoo them off if they come around, but it's going to be a long night. I got to set up a tent. Mosquitoes are insane, and it's just pissing down rain. I tried to walk 50, 60 feet down the path, and I slipped and fell already, so I'm going to need some light before I do anything else. Won't be light again for another 4 or 5 hours. July 8th, early morning, and I'm up at the top of this Portage Bay, and it was not a good night. Woke up to a floating bed with water seeping into my sleeping bag. I was about 3 inches of water at that point. So I moved everything I could up into the rafters of the tent and pulled my tent across the paddock up here on the hillside. It's a little bluff about 4 feet higher than the paddock. Of course, by then my sleeping bag and my pad and everything is soaked through. I wrapped myself up in this tarp inside the wet sleeping bag, and I slept for a few hours. But woke up shivering. It was a pretty miserable night, to say the least. One of my worst. Here's the situation. I was down in the paddock there. Thought I was high and dry. 4 feet above the water last night. Wasn't enough. About an hour and 20 after I got in, water level came up. Just turned my little tent into a indoor swimming pool. Built a little shelter back here under a stump, and I have to find a road, which I think is up there. Portage. In the meantime, the bears are back. He's out there working. I can't blame him. He's out there just chewing on grass. The bear's got to do what a bear's got to do. He's coming this way. Well, if he goes across that river, I'm going to have to get aggressive and shoo him off again. I don't think he's interested in me. He's just looking for these new sources of food. Maybe this is his normal route. Got it blocked off. But yeah, that's a big one. 250 pounds. Ah, here he comes. Hey, bear. Hey. I'm over here. Yeah, he took the word. There he goes. They've got to get their calories too. As long as they're not after me and after my food. Not much I can say about it. I spent all my life trying to shoo a bear away. And they just come back whenever they want. Be thankful he's not chewing on me. So my plan is to get some more food in me, get the food up in a tree, and then start exploring my options. Well, second cup of coffee, and the day is improving. The rain's let up. There's actually a bit of sunshine down the valley there. And maybe the promise of some blue sky sooner or later. It's actually a pretty nice morning in a very scenic spot. Just a little too wet. Nothing I can do about that. Just wring things out and wait for the sun to come out. I've been up for a few hours. Warmed up, dried up. Got my food hung up there. My tent's over there. My kayak and gear spread out in case it does get sunny. Just kind of a misty fog right now. Not really gonna make anything any wetter. There's a hill up there. I'm gonna get up there and see if I can see any evidence of a road. There's the valley down there. Valley floor where my kayak's at. It's all just bramble 6 feet high and down logs. Be pretty close to impossible to get a boat through here. I'm up on the hillside. I don't even see a road. I see a high road. That's probably the one to he's talking about, the Beaver Mountain cutoff. I'm not sure there's a smaller road, or if they just the portage they're talking about is up the valley. But as far as I can see here, I don't see the road. And if the road is coming in, it's coming in at an angle to the valley, so I'd pick it up anyway. So I'm gonna head back down to the valley and see if I can find a track that way. Well, if this is the portage route, it is the toughest portage route I have ever seen. It's just down trees. I think you might be able to come under that one, but there's a lot of them you have to go over. Just don't see it yet. Maybe up there. Maybe that way. Don't see the route. So I'm out in the middle of this field, basically. All that undergrowth is 4 to 6 feet high. The stump I'm standing on is about 6-7 feet across. But I programmed in a point of where I need to go to get to Chamde Sound. And it's reading 2.78 miles down that canyon that way. I can see a stream, just a little bit of trickle of water through there. And if it's flowing that direction, downhill, that'd be good. If it's wide enough to float a kayak, even better. So I think I'll cut through here and take a look first. But it's definitely not behind me. My boat's down there. The route's down that way. Now this shows some promise. I think I'm about half a mile from my boat through the forest there. It's pretty thick, but this opens up. This might be the ancient route. Well, I think I'm calling it. It just looks like this. Just a log and a log and a log and a log. And I'm 3/4 of a mile up this stream with 2 3/4 mile left. It would take me 5, 6, 7 hours to get the kayak and all my gear this far. That would make the portage at least a 4-day operation. Maybe longer, if at all. And I could get 4 days into there and get to an impassable section. I was hoping for some kind of a logging road or option like that, but I've got a high road up there. Looks like that's the one he was talking about, going to Beaver Mountain, and then the lower road is hundreds of feet above here. That must be the logging road over to Chamde Sound. I must got to catch the tide here in another 2 hours if I want to get out of here. Go downstream, and by some luck I find somebody with a pickup truck at that ramp at Sutzer Junction. I could get a ride along this road and dropped in. Otherwise I'd head back to Heidelberg and see if I can thumb a ride there. I just don't think it's possible to do the portage. It's too much of a gamble. I could spend a week out here and not make it. All right, I'm gonna leave Bear Creek, Portage Bay. Call this Bear Island. I give up on the portage officially. I know it's not high tide yet. I've got several hours at least, maybe 4 before high tide, but I'm going to push down there anyway and see what the channel looks like. Maybe I can work the edges and get there down a little farther. I saw a crab pot down there, so I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, somebody will come up here and check it at high tide on a Saturday afternoon. If so, I might be able to hitch a ride with them over to West Arm. But yeah, not great memories here. I got soaked at night from the rising tide. I couldn't find any portage. I think it's a cartographer's joke to put portage on there. There's absolutely no portage. Portage by helicopter. And I'm gonna try to put this behind me and go to plan B, head for Heidelberg and see if I can arrange a ride. Nice view down the Sound. There's that crab pot ahead I was talking about. Looks pretty fresh, so I think it's probably been there a day or two. In general, you can't leave the crab pots out for more than a few days. Crabs get hungry, they start eating each other. And that's the road up there. It's actually not impossible to get on it. I just don't know how I could travel 4 miles along that road with no wheels. I'd carry my gear 100 yards and come back and carry the boat 100 yards. If I drug the boat, it'd be tear right to the hull within a quarter mile. I couldn't roll it on logs. If I had a good set of off-road wheels underneath of it, I could attempt it. It'd probably take 2 days to get to the other side. But my options are limited. I think I'm gonna have to look for assistance now. Man, look at that. I don't know if that's gonna show up. One and only launch ramp. Alright, I'm at this Sutzer Junction, which is basically a little launch ramp of sorts. I say of sorts because it looks like high tide maybe. Probably 4-wheel drive. Get it in here. Got my laundry all hung out any old way I can get it out there. Try to get it dry as possible. Got my dry suit down there, and life jacket. Got my sleeping bag. Just trying to dry it up before the next squall comes. Eat some lunch here. Tide's slowly coming up, so got a little bit of time. Getting a flyover. I don't think he saw me. I'm eating lunch. A little salmon in the pot, tortilla and cheese. Got everything drying. It's not sunny, but there's enough heat coming through the clouds. Trying to do everything at once. Just dry everything, charge my batteries over there for camera. Just everything's wet. All right, my little dry the laundry beach is soaked out. Went from being drippy rain to decent weather to sunny weather to drippy rain to raining full speed. All in about 10 hours. So I'm gonna keep heading down. This is Sutzer Junction or something. I'm gonna keep going around that bend out there, down toward Heidelberg again, as far as I can get tonight, and just hit Heidelberg in the morning.